Good morning, this is Debbie with ancestryandtravels.com. Today I want to just kind of discuss some of the different sites that you can research on to do your family research. I use Family Search a lot. You've probably noticed that in my videos, but I did that mainly just to kind of help people see how to use a free genealogy site. There's lots of different sites out there. It just depends on what you're really looking for in genealogy as to what site you want to use. The thing I like about Family Search is that they have a plethora of different files that you can go into. So if you want to go into the records, they have a catalog you can go into. They have genealogies that people have worked up. They have lots of PDF books that are really good to go through as well. So they have a really broad amount of things that you can research for free. But there's also sites that you can go on to that are going to help you do genealogy research. I started actually personally myself with ancestry.com. I started with them mainly because I really didn't know how to go out and do research that much, and I wanted a community that I could go to learn the ropes on how to do family research. Another thing I like about family research or ancestry is that I have all these different trees that I've started just so that I can get some hints into some of the people that I'm researching. But there's lots of different reasons why you would use Ancestry. If you're going to do DNA, which a lot of people, that's a really popular thing to do right now, and it's a lot of fun. I just want to give you a little information about DNA research. When you're brand new to DNA, you can go and you can get your DNA done, but then what to know after the fact. It just depends on how deep you want to delve into it. I personally have so much to do that I don't want to become an expert on DNA, but if you wanted to, there's lots of resources out there for you to do that. But if you're going to do that, let me just kind of give you an idea of who you could do that with. You can do it with Ancestry, of course, and they usually have some good discounts on their genealogy or their DNA. So it's a lot of fun. Just to kind of give you an idea, I did my DNA way back when. I also did my mom just because I wanted to have extra DNA. That with your autosomal DNA, it only goes back really well, maybe 7, maybe 8 generations, but it just depends. Another thing to know when you think about autosomal DNA is that you get 50% from your mother and you get 50% of the DNA from your father. So if you can get the DNA from both of your parents, that's going to give you 100% of DNA of what they have, but it's still only 50% of each grandparent. So then you figure you've got 50% of your parents, you've got 25% of your grandparents on each side. You have half of that, so what, 12.5% of your great-grandparents, and you get what I'm saying? So each generation you go back, it gets smaller and smaller into the amounts of DNA that you have. So if you're going to go into DNA at all, I would suggest, first of all, go to the person that's the oldest in your family, whether it's your mother or your grandparents. You want to get back the DNA back as far as you can. The reason being is there's a lot of people that I don't match with on DNA that my mother does. So thank goodness I have her full 100% of DNA to do matches with. It's fun because you see what your ethnicity is. And it just kind of gives you an idea of where your family comes from, where your DNA comes from. So that's kind of fun, and they've got lots of little tools here like you can see. So there's lots of things that you can see about your DNA. Now these are my regions that my DNA comes from, and it tells you what kind of DNA samples that I have out there. I also have a test done for my mom. So then we can see what her DNA, you'll see that it's pretty similar to mine, obviously. So she's got a lot of the same regions as me, yet she has more regions here than I do. She has the Ohio River, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa settlers, Kentucky, Virginia's. The Kentucky and the Tennessees, these right here are my grandmother's side, and this here is my grandfather's side, this stuff in here. But as you can see, she's got some Norwegian in her, she's got Irish and Scotland, Germanic Europe. The people from this area, they were from Germany. Then she's got England and Wales. So it's kind of fun just to kind of see what your family history looks like and stuff, and where you're from. But it's also just very interesting to see what they have available. Now, one of the tools that I like to use is their search tool. If I'm just barely starting out and I'm trying to find somebody, instead of going up there and putting the name in, I like to go into the area that they're from. And then it'll give you an idea of what kind of records they have that are available. And Ancestry does have some unique records out there. They've got some good books on here that you can go in and play with. See, it's got the Ohio tax records from 1800 to 1850. There's a lot of things that you get on here. Of course, you pay for the ability to use those, and that's one of the things I like about Family Search, is that I can do that without necessarily having to pay for it. So it just depends on what you want to do starting out. Early index of land ownership. So let's go ahead and put McKee in there and see what kind of early land ownership was in there. So then it just gives you ideas of different McKees and where they were at. William McKee in Missouri, John McKee in the Ohio River Basin. So they were pretty much all over the place, but it's just kind of fun to see. Now this here is my grandpa Charles McKee, and it's showing that he's got a Ohio River base, U.S. military land. There was a lot, if you look at the old maps of different areas of the country, they've got different things available. Like they had military land, or they just had open land for anybody. I noticed that Grandpa Charles got into quite a bit of the military land. He would buy, there'd be like, kind of like headhunters today, but they would be people that would have land records that land that someone that got, because instead of paying a wage to our military people in the early days of the United States, they would give them land instead. That was the pay when they got done serving in the military. So this is like a really old map of an area. This is all military lands, and they're kind of hard to read. They're not necessarily nothing back in the old days is really easy stuff to find. But if you can see, they've got names in here. William Miller, somebody Baker. This says C. McKee, which was my grandfather. Also up here, you'll also notice that it says Charles McKee. So these are two plots of lands that he bought in the military district in Knox County, Ohio area. So there's some cool maps and different things that you can find on Ancestry. I really enjoy my membership with Ancestry. It just depends on what you're looking for and how much money you're willing to spend. But they do have the DNA, and so you can go in there, and I started to show you a little bit about the DNA. You can go in and view all your matches, all the people that match you on DNA, people that have already done their DNA as well. Shows that I have thousands plus fourth cousins or closer. This is a new thing that they've started on Ancestry DNA, where you can go in and you can see your parents. Then they'll, let's just go ahead and choose my grandpa for fun. So basically it's telling me that I have 2 DNA matches through my Aunt Ardella and her daughter Darlene, 2 of her granddaughter, and then also one of her sons has done DNA. So it's kind of fun to see. It looks like with the first cousin, it's 436 centimeters or centimorgans of shared DNA in 24 different segments of DNA. 151, so see, you're not even getting half the next generation down. So like I say, it's interesting to see and look and see. And this is nice because before they didn't really have this this actual program in it. It used to be, let's see, it just had shared. You had in your tree, you would have the same name as someone else, and so then you could go in and look and see who they had as well. So it's kind of fun. I kind of like this just because it shows you the picture of the grandparent, and you know, it's kind of cool and nifty. But then this is something that I've inputted too. It's not something that they just had. It's stuff that I've put in the pictures of my family. So it's really fun. I really enjoy Ancestry. I've got a pretty large tree in Ancestry. This, like I say, because this is where I started. But it's just really cool, and you get the hints. They'll tell you, like this one, they've got an ancestry hint on him. This one, there's 4 different hints that you can go look at, different record hints that you can go look at. So that's kind of fun. Then there's, if you're doing Irish genealogy and you want to do your DNA, Find My Past also does DNA research, and they have some pretty cool things in their site that I like. Especially if you're doing Ireland, you're going to get a lot more records here. Let's say 1764. That's when my grandpa McKee was born in Ireland. It's going to show you the different results that you can find on McKees in Ireland or throughout the United States. Another thing you can do is do your location. So I could do Ireland. It's going to obviously bring up, I had 7,000, now I've got 35 results, so it's a lot less results. But it can be a lot of fun. You can go into, I like to go into the parish registers and source and see what kind of things they have. There's a William McKee in South Carolina will. That wasn't in Ireland, but like I say, it just depends on who you're putting in and what kind of records you can have come up. But I find Find My Past has given me a lot more records for Ireland. If I don't put in the year, it's going to give me more McKees to look at. So again, it's not giving me, I don't know why it's not going for the, and I apologize, I don't research in here as much as I should to get as familiar with it as I can. But this is, like I say, if you're going into Ireland and you're wanting to do Ireland research and you want to do DNA and you want to have a good research site that you can have your tree on, Find My Past is a really great place, and it looks like right now they've got a $59 DNA test that you can take, which is awesome. That's a good price. They're normally around $99, so that's not bad. My Heritage is another company. I haven't checked Find My Past, so I'll have to check that out, but I did my DNA through Ancestry, but I was able to add, you can upload your DNA results into other sites. and this is one of the sites that I did that with. I also have Ancestry DNA, which is a company that does Y-DNA research. They're about the only ones out there that do it, and that's what, when I hit my brick wall with my McKees, I went to them to I had a cousin that tested for Y-DNA for me. So that was one way that I could break through a brick wall, and it really was it was worth every dime that I spent doing that. But I've got my DNA put into Find My Past, and also, like I said, FTDNA, Family Tree DNA. And then there's also another program called GEDCOM, and it's GEDCOM. No, sorry, that's wrong. GEDmatch. It's GEDmatch.com. And it's a free site that you can also upload your DNA into, and they can give you ideas on who you match in there. And the cool thing about GEDmatch is that people from all these different sites have gone in and gotten a kit with them. So you can match with people on Ancestry, Family Tree DNA, MyHeritage, 23andMe. So there's a lot of different sites. So you're going to get a resource of people from a lot of different sites. So it's definitely a good place to go to, and it's also a free site. So it's a good place to do that. But they have a lot of interesting things. They've got an Easter sale of $69 on MyHeritage. But that's some of the sites that do DNA, but also give you the family tree. But you're going to want to have a site that's going to give you some people that you can match to. And if you're really into building your family tree, I find Ancestry is the most used, and so it has a better matching source for you. But there's a lot of different companies out there that you can go with. But again, I really enjoy each site for different reasons. So go in and check them out. MyHeritage gives me lots of little clues. It tells me people that they've got uploaded data details on a family member. They tell me if I've got DNA matches or if I've got record matches. So it's pretty much pending. 26 new matches, confirmed 96 pending matches. I've got 35,000 record matches and 165 historical collections. So I need to go check those out. I just haven't really been into MyHeritage for a while. So there's lots of cool things about each site. It just depends on how much money you want to spend. But I spend more money in Ancestry than I have any other site. Another good place if you're going to go to try to research in Scotland, there's Scotland's People, and it's a really good site to go into and do some research too. A lot of sites like that you have to pay for the records to get a copy of the record, so be aware of that. Again, Family Search is probably the only site that you can go on and download records for free. And there are, like I say, they do have some agreements with other places, counties and states that you have to go into their library to be able to get a copy of it. But there's just a lot of cool things out there, a lot of places so many places to go, so many people to see. What can I say? And I do see dead people all the time. So anyway, have a good day. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or call me. I'm more than willing to help as much as I can if you're trying to get started. Be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that helps bring traffic to my channel, and I'd like to reach as many people as I can with this free tutorials on how to do genealogy. Thank you and have a nice day.